Hello friends, my name is Jess and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. In today's video, we're going to be talking about my spring TBR. I kind of have been in the mood to do like these seasonal TBRs this year because I do think it's fun to kind of read seasonally. I feel like these videos are a good opportunity for me to talk about some new releases that are coming out soon that I'm excited for, as well as some backlist books that I think will fit the spring theme and be fun to read during this time of year when like things are blooming, it's getting warmer, like some cozy fantasies, like cottagecore cozy fantasies, plant magic fantasies, some fun historical romances, as well as maybe a few just contemporary romances that feel springy to me. That's what you can expect in this video, as well as kind of like seasonal TBRs to come. But of course, it's March. We're gonna be in spring soon. So even though it's still cold outside, we're gonna plan the books that I'm gonna read this spring as the weather gets warmer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. The first category of books I want to talk about, like I mentioned, are new releases that are coming out soon that I am excited for and planning to read this spring. So the first book that I want to talk about is Homegrown Magic by Jamie Pacton and Rebecca Podos. This is a cozy cottagecore plant magic fantasy, just like I talked about, and I think that this book is going to be perfect for spring. It comes out on March 11th, so very soon, and I do have this one on NetGalley, so I'm super excited to get to it. So the tagline of this book says that it is full of friends to lovers chemistry, plant magic, found family, rival family drama, as well as cozy garden magic. So literally, if a book doesn't sound more perfect for spring, I don't know what would. Please tell me. Our main characters in this book are named Yael and Margot. Yael is non-binary and Margot is a woman, so we have that kind of pairing going on. Definitely a queer romance, and I think that this one sounds so good. I'm excited to get to it. I do feel like spring is such a good time for like a historical romance. I don't know why, it just feels like that makes sense in my head. This next one is perfect for that, and that is A Gentleman's Gentleman by TJ Alexander. This book comes out on March 11th as well, and like I said, is a historical romance, and I believe it has a trans main character who falls in love with another trans character or man. So in this book, we're following our main character, Lord Christopher Eden. He enjoys mostly just keeping to himself, spending time alone, but his lonely life is kind of placed in upheaval when he gets this letter that in order to inherit his father's estate, he needs to marry before the end of the season. And so he's now kind of being thrust into the season and trying to find a suitable wife. This is complicated. Christopher's never been attracted to a woman. He hires a valet to help him, and I believe he and this valet have a bit of a romance, and then it's being thrown into question, how can they be together? Christopher needs to get married. He can't marry a man. Honestly, for me, trans Regency romance is all you had to say. I'm really excited to pick this one up, and I think it's just going to be incredible and right up my alley. Maybe the new release I'm most excited for is Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Rosh. So excited for this book. It also comes out on March 11th, and it is the second book in her Royals and Romance series. The first book was The Nightmare Before Christmas, which was a Christmas romance that came out, and I honestly was kind of not super into that book at first. I was like, this sounds kind of dumb. I don't want to read this. But then I read it and it was so good. It was so good. So I'm so excited for this second book, which is between one of the princes of Christmas and I guess the prince of St. Patrick's Day, because in this world all of the holidays have royal families attached to them, and they kind of have these like political maneuvering situations going on. In The Nightmare Before Christmas, it was the prince of Christmas and the prince of Halloween who had a romance, even though the prince of Christmas was supposed to be with the princess of Easter. It was, you know, like, it sounds goofy to explain it, and it was goofy, but it was so campy and fun and also super well written, and the characters were super well done, and the pining was incredible, and the relationship development was really good, and I just loved it. I was so invested. So I'm so excited for this next book, which features the brother, the other Prince of Christmas. He kind of had a thing for the Princess of Easter, so I think it's interesting where this relationship is going. I mean, that was kind of addressed in the last book, but I'm super excited for another romance in this world, and I think it's going to be so good, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I have it pre-ordered and it should be coming in the mail next week. I'm so excited. There is also a new Only James book coming out this spring, so of course I will be reading that, and that is The Sin Eater. And this is the second book in her series The Watch, which is set at this fictional training center for psychopaths. It's kind of a spin-off of the Necessary Evil series, and that was a series about this family of vigilante killers who patriarch of that family adopted all of these psychopathic children and trained them to be vigilante killers, and each book is each son's romance. And this is kind of a spin-off of that book. The patriarch of that family helped found this institute based on his research with his sons. This book is between the headmaster of the school, Waylon, and one of the students named Peyton. So there's definitely an age gap, power imbalance situation going on, which only James loves to play with that kind of trope. So I am really excited to get back into this world and read this one. And it's been a really long time actually since the first book in this series came out. I think like 2022 or 2023. It's been at least 2 years. So I am excited to dive back into this series and sink my teeth into it. I think that this one is going to be really good. I remember meeting these characters in the first book and their dynamic was super interesting. So I can't wait to read about their romance and I think it's going to be good. And I just love another Only James. It's just like candy for the brain. They're just like, you know, we all have those guilty pleasure books, you know. This is mine. Another queer historical romance that's coming out this spring that I definitely want to get to soon is The Unlikely Pursuit of Mary Bennet, and this is by Linz McLeod. This is a sort of spin-off retelling of Pride and Prejudice following Mary Bennet of the Bennet sisters, and this is a romance between Mary and Charlotte Lucas. It's supposed to begin canonically about 4 years from the end of Pride and Prejudice. So apparently Mr. Collins has passed away, so Charlotte is left a widow and she's kind of lost. And so she writes to her best friend Lizzie. Lizzie's otherwise preoccupied, so she sends her sister Mary in her place. And when she does that, Charlotte and Mary begin to form this friendship that quickly turns into an unexpected romance. Then of course it becomes this concept of if these two can make a life together or if Charlotte needs to remarry for security and her comfort, etc., etc. It's like the 1800s, you know, it's a Regency era. That's always the conflict in a queer Regency era romance. But I think that this one sounds so good. I love Pride and Prejudice, so I'm really excited to see this pairing. I honestly might have to read Pride and Prejudice before I read this because it's been so long, but maybe I'll just watch the movie or something. I don't know. Either way, this one sounds so good and I can't wait to get to it. And I don't think I mentioned this, but it comes out April 29th. Also, of course, I can't make this video without mentioning Dream On Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. This book comes out on May 13th and it is Ashley Herring Blake's newest adult sapphic romance and it looks so beautiful. Like that looks like spring. Like that is the springiest spring book I've ever seen in my life and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm so excited for a new Ashley Herring Blake romance. I cannot wait. In this book, we're following our main characters, Ramona and Dylan. Ramona used to have big dreams, but she just kind of still lives in her small town. But when a movie comes to film in her small town, she's like, oh, this might be my big break. I should like audition for this movie. The only problem is her first kiss and Hollywood wild child Dylan is the star of this movie. So throughout this situation, the two become reintroduced and they discover there is still a spark between them, but will their kind of life paths align? It sounds very Hallmarky. It's set in this cute little small town, and it also has that like Hollywood element to it. I think that this book sounds really good. I feel like Ashley Herring Blake's like romance writing is just like getting better, although I do feel like her Christmas romance was a little bit of a step back, but I think that this one will get back on track and I think that this one will be really good. I'm really excited to pick this one up. The last new release I want to talk about is And They Were Roommates by Paige Powers. This is actually a YA romance book, I believe, but it sounds so cute and so funny and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I actually have this one on NetGalley as well, so I'm planning to read it sooner rather than later. It does come out on May 27th, so sort of towards the end of spring, but I think that this book sounds so fun and so cute and like the perfect light spring read. In this book, we're following Charlie. Charlie is trans and has started at this new school for boys. The problem is his roommate is this boy named Jasper, and Jasper is the boy who broke Charlie's heart the year before he transitioned. So they have a bit of a history together. Charlie was really planning to just try and fly under the radar. He doesn't really want to be openly trans, he just wants to pass, and so Jasper being here is a problem. And so Charlie figures it's only a matter of time before Jasper finds out, and so the conflict kind of becomes like, when is this gonna happen? When is the truth gonna be revealed and what's gonna happen when it does? And I think that they start kind of developing crushes on each other before anyone knows the truth, and there's all these like secrets and history floating around. So I think this book sounds super cute and super fun, and I'm really excited to pick it up because it sounds just like right up my alley. All right, and now I have a few backlist titles that I also want to get to this spring that I want to talk about that I feel like are really fitting for this season. So maybe they'll give you some ideas of what to put on your spring TBR. Themes again, cozy fantasies, plants, love. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's hop into it. The first book I want to talk about is a historical romance, and that is You're the Problem, It's You by Emma R. Albin. I just last month read Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, also by Emma Albin, and it was so good. It's the first book in this series, and this book follows Gwen's cousin maybe also Beth's cousin. I don't know. They're somewhere connected to the characters of the first book. And basically the matchmaking from the first book isn't over in this book because Beth and Gwen are gonna meddle and match these two up as well. And so this is basically just a fun, campy historical romance, and I loved the first book in this series, so I can't imagine not loving this one. I already have been introduced to these characters, and the ending of the first book kind of hints at what's going to happen in this book, and I like the direction it's going, so I definitely want to pick this one up this spring, mostly because the first book is fresh in mind, but also I feel like this is the perfect book for this season. Like, it's just going to be fun and cute and a light, fluffy good time, so I'm really excited for this one. I also would like to pick up Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. This is a gender-swapped YA retelling of the story of Robin Hood, and I think it sounds really fun. I think our main character is actually the granddaughter of Robin Hood. She gets involved in this like goofy hostage situation, and then her hostage ends up being really annoying so she just wants to return her, but there's this like, she's part of this evil family that she's trying to extort basically, I think, and they get into these just like goofy ridiculous situations and end up falling in love. And I think that this book sounds really cute and campy. It seems to be in a similar style to Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher, which I really loved, and that book was just so fun and light and happy and just like the perfect kind of spring read. So I'm hoping that this one will be similar vibes, and just like the bright green of the cover just gives spring. So I feel like that this one will be a really fun read for this season, and I can't wait to get to it. This copy is also beautiful. I found this in the UK and it was only like $7, so I love it. I'm so excited to pick this one up. This season I'm also planning to read The Fiancé Farce by Alexandra Belfleur. I think that this will be perfect for spring. It is an adorable sapphic romance with a fake marriage situation going on. In this book we're following Gemma and Tansy. Our main character Tansy owns this bookstore. She also has this kind of meddling family who really wants her to be with someone, so she's invented this fake girlfriend for them, convinced herself that this girlfriend will never have to actually meet her family. Gemma, on the other hand, needs to get married in order to inherit her inheritance, which is like this large publishing company. When she finds out that I don't really understand why Tansy has specifically been pretending she's dating Gemma, but apparently she has been specifically pretending she's dating Gemma. When Gemma finds this out, Gemma announces that they're engaged. And so this becomes a marriage of convenience, a marriage of mutual beneficiality, and the two have this romance along the way, obviously, because the line of what's real and fake starts to blur, blah, blah, blah. But they're both have these secrets, have these other things going on, and so will their relationship last? I don't know. I do love a fake dating, fake marriage of convenience situation, so I think that this one will be so fun. Again, it's like just another book that just like looks like a springy fun book. Like, this pink color is so pretty. The idea of like weddings and just like fake marriage, I don't know, it just seems perfect. It seems perfect, and I'm really excited to read this one, and I think it's gonna be really cute and just give me all of the like lovely fluttery spring vibes. Another book that I want to read this spring is Yield Under Great Persuasion by Alexandra Rowland. I think that the reason this one gives spring is like all of the plants on the cover. It just feels springy to me, and I think it's gonna be kind of like a cozy low fantasy kind of vibe, and also a romance. So all of those things equal spring in my head. This book follows Tam and Lord Lyford, who have known each other since they were kids and have hated each other since then, but they've also been sleeping together for the past 10 years. So they have a bit of an interesting relationship. Lord Lyford did something to offend Tam a long time ago. Tam's never forgiven him. Tam has always kind of felt like beaten down by life, like he's out of the gods' favor, like he's just not, things don't go well for him, basically. And so he also then finds out that Lord Lyford has the favor of the god that he feels most betrayed by, and so he like calls everything off. He's like, okay, I'm done. And he goes on this kind of quest of like self-worth, self-discovery, self-love. Turns out there's been somebody there all along that has loved him for exactly who he is. Obviously, we all know who this is. So that's the concept of this book. It sounds just really wholesome and very sweet and very cute, and also like it will be funny. And I love this dynamic of, I hate this person, I'm also sleeping with them, they're also in love with me, but I hate them. Like, I think it's just so funny and so campy and so ridiculous and so fun, and just like my perfect kind of cozy queer fantasy. Like, I'm really excited to read this one. I read A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland in the fall and loved it, so I'm super excited to read more from her, and I think that this one will be right up my alley and perfect for spring. I also would really like to get to A Rake of His Own by AJ Lancaster for similar reasons. Obviously, just looking at this, it's very spring. There is a little greenhouse down here and lots of plants blooming across the cover. The colors are very spring, and our main character is a gardener, which is the most spring occupation of all. This book follows our main character, Marius. Marius wakes up to an interesting situation. There is a dead body in his greenhouse, and there's also a naked fake prince across his desk. And so he does not know what to do with this. The only rakes Marius has any interest in are the garden variety, not the fake prince variety. But this situation is a murder investigation, basically, and these two kind of have to form this unlikely alliance in order to figure out what happened, like why there's a dead body in Marius's greenhouse. And so they team up and they try to solve this mystery and fall in love along the way. And I think this sounds so fun and cute, like a cute, cozy, gardeny mystery and romance between this human with like garden magic and this fae. What's more spring than that? Like, what is more spring than that? It sounds so good. I'm so excited to finally get to this one. I've had it on my shelves for a while. I think it's gonna be really good. I'm so excited. The lighting's gotten a little weird, sorry. But the very last book that I want to talk about is Us, Etc. by Kit Vincent. Now, I feel like this book is maybe the least spring, but I really want to read it soon and I wanted to talk about it. I have wanted to read Kit Vincent for a while. I've had their books from KU checked out for a bit. This one definitely sounds the most intriguing to me though. It is a romance between two cyborgs who are serving this family as like servants basically, and then there's some kind of event that happens that sparks the two to team up and escape, and then they're on the run from their human masters and they're like falling in love along the way and like developing feelings and things. I love a sentient AI trope in sci-fi. I think it's so fascinating. It's a little scarier now than it used to be to read about, but I still do really like it. But a month or two ago I saw Maybe Happy Ending on Broadway with Darren Criss, and this play is about two like robot cyborg servants basically falling in love, and it is such a good story. It is so good, and it reignited my interest in reading this book because I feel like this story is going to be kind of similar to that play. Similar vibes, and those vibes are things that I need right now in my life. And so I definitely want to pick this book up this spring, and I think it's going to be really good, and I hope that it lives up to my expectations of it being similar to Maybe Happy Ending. And also, if you live in the New York area and haven't seen Maybe Happy Ending yet, you need to. It's so good. Okay, so that is a little bit of a taste, a little bit of a flavor of the books that I'm planning to read this spring. Please let me know in the comments down below what you're planning to read this spring. I would love to get more ideas and inspiration. I love reading seasonally, so I think that this is going to be super fun. Also, if you are interested in queer books and videos about queer books, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and stick around. That's what I exclusively talk about over here. I would love to have you. Also like this video if you liked it. That always helps me out. If you're interested in reading any of these books in this video along with me, I have linked them all in the description. These are affiliate links. I earn a tiny commission if you purchase through them. No extra cost to you. Also no pressure, just there for your convenience. If you are interested, you can also follow me on social media. All those links are in the description as well. I think that's everything for me. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.